This is Long Way to the Top, and I'm your host, Shayne Brian. Shayne Brian with you, and look, I'll tell you what, our special guest tonight, he has been part of Australian rock music for so long, and we've got a massive announcement to make tonight. I've got Angry Anderson from Rose Tattoo. How are you, mate?
Oh, mate, you know, living the nightmare.
Living the nightmare.
Yeah, well, once upon a time, you took great... I mean, I'm just having fun, but, you know, we used to say, you know, living the dream, and we still are. We
are.
I mean, but you know what I mean? There's some stuff going on around us, and we won't get into it, and you just think to yourself, really? I mean, is all this negativity necessary? Anyway, we won't dwell on that. So I'm doing all right for an old bloke with no proper job.
That's good. I'll tell you what, I've got to say, your time that you've spent with Rose Tattoo has been part of the best part of Oz rock history, and there's a big announcement 15. That we are going to make.
Yep. Well, coming up for the end of the year.
Yeah. It'll
be 50 years.
50 years. 50 years since Rose Tattoo started.
I have been in we started, we took our official birthday. It's not when the band was born, so to speak. The band was born in the latter stages of 74. But then again, we were just jamming at that stage. So we actually hadn't become a band. And Mick Cox, who ended up being the rhythm player, we were up here and over that summer, and you know, we went back to Melbourne not knowing what was going to happen with the band, and then we got a phone call, and I'm pretty sure it was in either late 74, early 75, and Ian Rylands rang me up and said, come back to Sydney because, you know, we want you guys, or we want you, to me, to join the band. And the rhythm player that they were sort of favouring was got himself into trouble with heroin and totally unreliable, blah, blah, blah. And so Mick got the job. So during 75, that's when the band started to play. Yeah.
Now you're going to be going out and doing your 50th anniversary concerts. And
we are. We've been doing this run for this year.
Yep.
Has been based on this is our final year, and so we're just about to jump on an aeroplane next week and do our final trip to Europe because, as you know, Europe's been amazingly supportive since the early 80s. And I don't think we would have had the international recognition that we do now enjoy or have enjoyed for a lot of years without that wonderful support from you. So we've got 6 weeks. It's going to be pretty exhausting, but, you know, particularly myself being I'm close to 80.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know, I mean, it's isn't it wonderful that the two things marry up? That, you know, I've been associated with the band. Well, I've been the singer in the band, the lyricist for nearly 50 years, which is over half of my life.
Yeah.
And you know, it's an appropriate thing for, I think, someone approaching 80 to, it married up with the 50 years, and it was just time to say thank you very much for the years and au revoir.
Now we're gonna have a chat about that because you just said au revoir. Did I hear that correctly? But that's it. You're hanging up the microphone.
Not me personally, no.
So you'll keep singing?
Well, some people argue the point whether it's singing or not. I was described once by an American journalist as a very tuneful screamer, which I kind of thought is that a compliment or not? But yeah, I will continue on. Rose Tattoo finishes New Year's Eve, New Year's Day at the end of this year, and I'll go on for another X amount of years doing some solo stuff. So no, I'm not personally hanging it up yet. I think I want to. I don't know what I would possibly do without performing, but I think I've got a few more years of relevance as far as a songwriter and therefore a performer. So I'll kick on.
You'll kick on. How does it feel with the rest of the band? I mean, these guys have been part of your life for 50 years, and you're effectively saying goodbye.
Yeah. Well, see, the boys in the band. I mean, Dougie DeMarco, our drummer, Paul DeMarco. His middle name is Douglas, so we call him Dougie. He is the longest-serving member, apart from myself.
Yeah.
Stephen King, who's playing bass, he played bass some years ago for some years with the band, and he recorded. He was the bass player on the last album, which was Blood Brothers, the last album that we did with Mick, who was a founding member. And unfortunately, God rest his soul, we lost him the year after, 2009. And Mick Arnold has been an associate or a friend of the band for 20 years or more. He played with Peter Wells in his band when Peter wasn't playing in the Tats. And young Ronnie Simmons first met him as a teenager. And his father, who was a huge fan, brought him, and he was like 15 or 16-year-old. And I said to him at the time, "Are you any good?" And he said, "I'm great, but I'm going to be greater." And I thought, I love this kid's attitude, right? And I said, well, what you've got to do is play with as many people that are great and better. And that's the way to get really, really skilled. And he said, "I'm going to play in the best rock and roll band in the world." And I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "What, the Stones?" And he went, "No, the Tats." And I went,
nice. Nice.
That was the most appropriate thing he could have said. And all these years later, he joined a couple of years ago, and he'd spent a lot of years in Los Angeles playing with numerous bands, including the Ramones and Faster Pussycat and a bunch of others. And came back to Australia. We invited him to come back and complete the lineup. So it's a monster lineup. It's a fresh faces, I suppose, apart from my own. Yeah. And a fitting lineup to see the legacy finish.
Yeah. So, final concert is going to be on New Year's Eve. Yep. And I just want to say, as a longtime fan of Rose Tattoo, and also your personal catalogue as well. You guys have been an instrumental part in the life of so many Oz music fans.
Well, yes, thank you for that. Get a little bit emotional whenever we talk about the past, but also the past in conjunction with the finishing of the band, because it's it's going to be a very traumatic experience. Trying not to dwell too much on it at the moment, because we've got a job to finish, so to speak. So, but I mean, it's when I look back personally, and I'm doing a book at the moment with the HarperCollins people, publishers, doing a book on my life, and of course, huge part of that book was obviously they want the story of Rose Tattoo, or my involvement, my musical journey, if you like. And so it's brought a whole lot of stuff to the surface, and it's a really, really, I mean, it's almost cliche to say it's a very humbling experience, but of course it really is. I mean, when I look back on my involvement in arguably and I accept this because other people keep telling me this, from, I don't know, the guys in other bands. We've had acknowledgement from some of the biggest rock bands in the world, and as influencers or bands that they appreciate or like. I look back on that and I think to myself, I go back to a conversation I remember having with Peter in the early stages of the band, and we just had our first album out. We'd had, a couple of charting hits, and we knew that we were on our way, so to speak. And I remember him. I said, "This is great." He said, "Mate, let's not get ahead of ourselves." He said, "If in 20 years," and he said 20. He said, "If in 20 years the band's still playing and people still want to hear our songs, we know we've done something significant." So here we are, 50 years on, and it's just that I'm so grateful for what the band has done on a personal level for myself, because, let's face it, without the band, who knows where I would have ended up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, it is a fitting end to an incredible legacy. I'm glad that you're going out on the 50th year, and, your legacy will remain part of Oz rock history.
Yeah, and I'm very humbled by that, as I say, and I don't mean that in a cliche way. I've really thought about that, about the feeling of it, and I just think to myself, like, wow, 50 years, it's gone so. It hasn't gone fast. We do say that, don't we? We say,
do.
"Oh, quite, it's gone past very quickly." No, it hasn't. But all too quickly, we are at the end of it. I think that's the most important aspect of saying, "Oh, it's gone quickly." Each year, particularly when you get older, it seems to go quicker than the one before. Yeah. And I think that's, I've read a little bit about it actually, in reference to it. And one of the things about it is it's the perception, if you like, of your life passing you by. Yeah. And, it's a great experience, I think, too. And people need to be able to hopefully dwell on the positive of any aspect of their life.
Yeah.
But when I look back on it, I think to myself, like, wow, the things that we've done, the places we've been, really just so fortunate to, and I've got, I've probably got 10, maybe 15 years left, and that's a very sobering thought too, because all of a sudden you can almost clearly see the end, as opposed to you've lost sight of the beginning because it's so long ago. Yeah.
Well, Angry, you're a good man, and you've brought a lot of joy, and the band's brought a lot of joy to a lot of people throughout the years. So, for your next stage, we wish you all the best, and
thank you.
Thank you for 50 years of Rose Tattoo.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wouldn't have missed it for quids.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit plus or follow to subscribe to the podcast, and head over to Facebook at The Long Way to the Top Podcast and give us a like. Keep on rocking, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Long Way to the Top.